Hello, and welcome to OurVentura TV. I'm MB Hanrahan, and today my guest is Marie Lakin, and she is the co-chair along with, well, at the time right now, Jen Livia, but we'll give her fair credit, for Artwalk Ventura. So, Marie, in the event that someone has never heard of Artwalk Ventura, how about you describe it for us?
It's a mapped experience of all our arts venues on the West Side. And what we do a little differently than other cities, I think, is it's more than an art fair. We have our individual artists that sign up and we place them in locations along the route. So some are located with businesses like Palermo had an artist, and we had an architectural firm that had a couple of artists. And so we turn existing businesses into galleries and we highlight the ones that we already have. And then we put other artists who don't have a venue home into other spaces. And it's been a really enjoyable experience to put this on, because while you do it, you realize just how rich our creative community is.
So this is an annual event, and how many days does it go?
Well, this year we decided to do it 2 days. In like the past years before the pandemic, there was one that had a 1 day event, but the past year that we did it in 2023, we had so many venues and artists that signed up that you couldn't possibly have done it in 1 day. So it had to be a 2 day adventure.
Okay, I love that adventure.
Mm-hmm.
And what about people that are that walking from venue to venue wouldn't really be something that they could do, and yet they were not willing or able to drive a car from venue to venue? How did you deal with
Well, in
that?
past some years, we've had shuttle buses. In 2023, we had our existing partner, Gold Coast Transit, provided free bus rides along the route. And honestly, you could start anywhere you wanted to around Ventura, or anywhere else, Oxnard even, and show them their paths. And you would get on that route and go to either 6 or 16. That was the location of our art walk for free. So
When I think of West Side, I often think of like Ventura Avenue and that to down to Main Street, but this also included downtown.
mhm.
Okay.
It in the past, when this first started in, I think around 2000 or so, and forgive me for not knowing the exact date, it's been around a while.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, they placed artists within existing businesses.
Mm.
So it's always had a downtown component. I think one year it was the West Side Art Walk, and then I'm not sure what year, that might have been 2011, and that was more focused on the West Side. So it really kind of depends on what the organizers are up to. I think it's a good idea to bring our downtown into it, because then it shows out of town visitors not only our arts offerings, but the other wonderful things that are downtown as well. Our businesses, our restaurants. People will eat there, when they get hungry and get tired of looking at art, they're in there to sit out at Finney's, on a Saturday evening and watch great music on the stage. So a lot of folks were doing that. A very, very magical evening to do
Well,
that.
you anticipated my next question because, full disclosure, I'm a fine artist. So when I hear arts, I have to always remember that does not just mean fine arts. So you said stage performances. Why don't you talk a little bit about, well, at least what you have done and or things that you know that have happened in the past?
Well, I think we've always had music as a component, and often theater arts. It just depends on the years and who's organizing it and who's
Mm-hmm.
around to do things. But this year, this past year, the 2023, we spent some time talking to our performing arts community, and we realized that they'd been sort of overlooked in past
Mm.
art walks. So I think it was I think in 2023, at least, to see the Rubicon Theater performing in a Burning Man art car in Mission Park was something to behold. I mean, that just doesn't happen every day. And that is the kind of art walk it was this last time in 2023. So there was a very unified effort to just showcase everything we had. And I love that.
Do you feel from because this interview will play on and on into the future that there will be another art walk?
Oh yeah, no, we're working on organizing another one. We don't know how it will look. As I speak, we are still hearing that the Downtown Moves program, which is open Main Street up, it could change configurations in which way we do not know. So, in the future date, I will understand more about how that is going to look, or it may just stay the same. But it always depends on what we have available to us to use. So.
Sure. So you say I know that people sometimes just think that anything big that goes on, the city must be behind it. Why don't you describe how this actually happened and then who you interface with to get this done? You have mentioned a few other organizations, obviously.
Right. So in 2011, the city decided that they wouldn't be unable to put this event on due to budget cuts in the arts programs. And we lost quite a bit back then. It wasn't just Art Walk. So a lot of us really cared about this event because it's a way to showcase not only our artists, but I mean, the Idea Center, a STEM ambassadors program for youth on the Upper Avenue had, they told me they had more traffic than they've ever had in their facility. And so we all really care about this community and showcasing what we have to offer. And so we took it on in 2011 privately. We got donor funding, and there was a little funding from the city. But this year, the city joined us as a partner as far as having the atrium in the city hall open for venues and helped us promote it a little bit. But this has all been under enormous volunteer steam. We've got people working their little hearts out to make this a really great event. Nobody's being paid. Almost to the point of exhaustion. I guess I'm speaking for myself. Because we really cared. We care about our arts community. We care about our downtown businesses. We care about everyone that participated this year, and a way to showcase what Ventura has to offer. It was important.
I was going to ask you how Art Walk benefits the community, but it sounds like you've covered that. But I'm going to open it up to, how do you feel that Art Walk benefits individual artists? And then if there's anything else you'd like to say about how you feel it benefits the community.
Well, not only do we register individual artists that aren't affiliated with the venue, but and find a spot for them to show where they may not have a spot to show regularly. We promote them on social media frequently. Every single artist got a good promo from us. And then we build them their own webpage on the Artwalk site. Wow. So it was a lot. But they've got permanent tracking, for somebody could find them on the web. Let's say they didn't have their own web page, or most of them have Instagram accounts. So they would have one then on the Artwalk page too. So
that sounds amazing. If someone, you said you accept donations, and I do want to get to how people can. I know there's people going to be in droves are going to want to be part of next year's and part of your volunteer force that brings this to all of us. But if someone was just to hand you like a huge check and said, "This is all for Art Walk, year XYZ," what would be your wish list, or what would you do with that?
I'd hire an administrative assistant. There's been a rotating group of people who have put this on since 2011, and eventually everyone gets very tired and then someone else picks it up and then someone else picks it up. That's kind of how it's been, I think, to have a permanent employee dedicated to this endeavor, just like the city used to have before volunteers picked it up,
Okay.
would be a wonderful thing. If anybody would hand me a giant check, I would. That's probably what I would do with it.
It might happen. Okay, so finally, how do people contact you for donating and to volunteer?
So, Arts Ventura is the group that we set up to be fiscal sponsor of Artwalk, and it is a nonprofit 501c3. And we do private fundraising, not only for Art Walk, but for other cultural endeavors in the city. We paid for public art, all kinds of cultural endeavors that these groups didn't have their own 501c3, and that designation is attractive to donors. So we have on the Art Walk site a paywall that goes to the Arts Ventura donation site, and you can always send a check as well. So it talks about how to donate on the Art Walk site. There's a donate tab, and if you want to be a volunteer, all you have to do is send an email to artwalkventura@yahoo.com, and we will answer you promptly and put you on our volunteer list.
Well, Marie, I want to thank you so much for being of service and everybody who is of service. And I want to thank you, our viewers, for tuning in to Our Ventura TV. I'm MB Hanrahan, and I'll see you next time.